Hello, friends. My name is Holly. If you don't know me, I'm with Suave Knits, and today I'm talking about some new yarn that I got. But first, let me talk about the sweater I have on. This is my All-Star Puppy Dog pattern. It is a super bulky weight sweater that features all of my charts for all of my puppy dogs. I also have a kitty cat version. And yeah, I love this sweater. And if you are interested in it, it is available at the link in the description below. I have links for Etsy and for Ravelry if that's your jam. And today this sweater is featuring the Corgi. Okay, so now that we got the self-promo out of the way, let me talk about this new yarn that I got. This is called the Anti-Pilling Butterfly yarn. So as you can see, it's like a cake and it's self-striping, and on the sides of the ball, it has the pattern of the stripes. And I think one of the cool things about this yarn is that every single ball has the exact same yardage for every stripe. So like if you're using multiple balls and want the stripes to be like perfect, there's no guesswork. Like that's what it says on the info sheet that they sent me. So I have 3 samples of this yarn that they sent me, and it's kind of a funny story. I would have done an unboxing video for this, but I was expecting a different box of yarn from Premier that like I had been talking to them about. I thought, oh, the box that I just got must be the yarn that I was waiting for. And when I opened it, I was like, what the heck is this? And then I opened the baggie that was like holding all the yarn, and then I was like, and why the heck is this so soft? To say I am a fan would be an understatement. And as soon as I opened this, I was like, what the heck am I gonna make? And I have some ideas already. So unlike my We Are Knitters video, like I actually have a little bit more direction on what I want to go with this. But first, let me talk about the palette that I have. First of all, these cakes come in 546 yard balls. The unique thing about the striping, and you can kind of see it on the side of the ball, but it actually has the first outside color is about 1/3 of the ball of yarn. And then the second 2/3 of the ball of yarn is split into 5 different colors. So the next 5 colors, they're smaller stripes, which I think is very unique. Yeah, there's all different color palettes. So this one I have is Parrot, and it's very tropical looking. The colors in the middle are so bright, and like I love these blues in the middle. Like you guys know, I love blue, so super excited for that one. This one, I'm not as excited about the color palette. It's called Pool Party, and I'm just being honest about it. Like I think it is a very like springy palette because it's more pastels, but the idea I have for it, I think it's gonna work really well. And then the last one is probably my favorite of what they sent me, and it's called Rosie. And you can see the self-striping on the side. It's all different shades of pink, which is literally gorgeous. The info sheet that they sent me has a ton of different colors, and I just wanted to talk about a few that like I might purchase for myself in the future. I don't know if I have time, but like there are so many like really pretty colors. Like what's first jumping off the page at me is Retro Sunset. Like 100% huge fan of the Retro Sunset. And then right next to that is the Romantic color palette, and with like the moodier pinks and like kind of into the browns, I just feel like, oh my gosh. And Romantic is like the perfect name to describe that palette. Like I literally love it. And then of course like the bluer shades, like I really like Blue Sky, I really like Lagoon, I really like Arctic, all of those, huge fan of. And then for a neutral palette, I really like Riverbank. Honestly, I'm just like a huge fan, and like I've used self-striping yarn before, and it was like so much easier than the sweater that I made literally like the week before, where I created my own stripes. So I made like 2 of my friends' stripe sweaters for Christmas one year. One of them I felt really proud of because I made the stripes in like a computer program and like made the stripes look perfect, but it literally at the end of the day, it is just a striped sweater. So like all of the work that I put in to like make these stripes perfect or whatever, like the sweater that I use that used self-striping yarn arguably looked better because also the color palette was like perfect, because experts are literally coming up with these color palettes. So like I'm a huge fan of the self-striping yarns going on, and I have some ideas for what I want to do with this because it is a lot of yarn. It is a number 3 lightweight yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and it's a part of their anti-pilling brand, and I like love their anti-pilling yarn. So you already know I'm obsessed with this yarn, but I'm trying to figure out like what to do with it because it is about 550 yards of like a 3-weight yarn, and in order to see the self-striping, I feel like it needs to be like a bigger project. But then if I make a sweater with like just 500 yards of a 3-weight, I don't know if that's enough. Like maybe I'm being like kind of dumb and showing my inexperience here, but I feel like that's not enough. But the idea that I have is to actually hold a strand of each one of these colors together and make a sweater, because I feel like 550 yards of like a bulky weight or like a super bulky weight, depending on what my gauge turns out to be, is enough to make a sweater and see all of the self-striping. But then like the wild card part of this, because looking at all of the self-stripings on like the side of the yarn, I feel like what I really want to do is on the green, start the yarn from like the actual start, like the beginning of the green. Then on the yellow, I want to start with a center pull. So I'm looking at the colors like in the opposite direction. And then for the pink, and I've thought about this a lot because I was like, if I start from the outside of the green and the inside from the pink, that's going to look a little bit Christmassy. So what I think I want to do for the pink is remove the first color, the white, and start at the second like light pink color, and then reintroduce the white at the very end. So it'll be like the 3 largest colors are being introduced at different points in the self-striping, and like all the stripes will kind of like look really different and really cool. So that's like my working vision for what I'm doing, and I want to just make it like a really basic sweater. So what I was thinking is I'm gonna do a gauge swatch and see if there are any patterns out there for like a really good quality like raglan, because then I don't have to just like wing it, you know? Like I feel like I've winged it on sweaters in the past and it's just been a mess. So if I do the gauge, am happy with the gauge, and then find a sweater pattern that's like really good for that gauge, I feel like this could be like a huge win. And then the other part about it is like obviously the sleeves are gonna look different, but I'm like kind of okay with that. Like I really want the sweater to just look like organized chaos, if that makes sense. Like I don't want it to be too perfect, but I also like, again, I didn't really want the colors to be like that crazy. And the other thing about like the green and the pink is, if you notice in the centers, they both have the dark pink in the center, so it would be like 2 whole stripes of just like straight up dark pink if I started them at the same point. So that's why I kind of wanted to like stagger it. And I feel like with the staggering, I think these 3 super random balls of yarn are actually gonna like work really well. So stay tuned for that. And why don't we get into our little swatch and see kind of how it looks. So for the swatch, I'm just doing an outside pull for each ball of yarn just to kind of get an idea of what the swatch is going to look like. I'll do all of the funky colors for the actual piece. So you can see I used 17 needles and it created kind of a looser fabric, but I feel like this will work really well for like extending the yarn and getting the biggest bang for my buck. Okay, so after doing the swatch, I'm feeling really good, but I think I'm gonna take some time and like do some research and see if there are any sweater patterns on the market that I think will match well with my gauge. So in the meantime, I'm probably gonna stop the video here and then maybe do like a process video on how this whole thing goes. But if you're interested in getting this yarn and doing something similar to what I'm doing, or if this yarn has inspired you in some way, way for a new project. I will have the link in the description below where you can check out this yarn, and let me know what you're making with it. I would love to hear in the comments, and if you have any other ideas for what you think I should make with this, honestly, by the time I post this video, I will probably be well on my way on the sweater, but I'm not opposed to buying this myself. Let me know if you think there are any like really cool self-striping like patterns that I should make, and make sure you follow me on Instagram. I will also have my Instagram linked below because I'm probably going to be posting a lot of like progress videos and progress pictures of this sweater as I'm making it, so that will be a good place to check in before I post the finished video with the entire process. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was a very fun video. Sorry that I didn't get to do the unboxing part, which I feel like would have been so fun. But again, this yarn was completely unexpected and completely welcome. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.